My friends, what a strange question to ask. What is the meaning of life? As if life were some puzzle with a hidden message, a riddle to be solved in the dusty attic of existence. Yet I find every time I ponder this question, the answer turns out to be surprisingly simple. The meaning of life is just to be alive. Yes, to be alive, nothing more and nothing less. It sounds almost too obvious, doesn't it? But consider, we rush around every day with hurried footsteps and busy hands as if we must pack meaning into each moment, yet the real meaning is standing right in front of us all along, in the mere act of living. In truth, meaning is a funny word. We often use it as though life were a secret manuscript to be deciphered. Yet if we expect a hidden message, we may overlook the fact that life itself is the message. It is the bloom of a flower, not a metaphor waiting to be interpreted. As the old Zen saying goes, if you look at the moon in the water, there is the moon. Don't lower your lantern to get it, for perhaps it isn't deep in the well. In other words, life is not something beyond what it is pointing to. It is pointing at itself. Think for a moment of something utterly ordinary. The breath in your lungs, the feeling of warm sunlight on your skin, the sound of a child's laughter in the distance. Here is life speaking, and yet we seldom pause to listen. Instead, we treat life as though it were a rare museum piece behind glass, to be admired from afar, or perhaps hoarded in our scrapbook of accomplishments. But life is not a trophy. It is like the sunlight itself, intangible, present and free. It flows through us, and the secret of finding meaning in life is as simple as recognizing we are waves in that tide. A Zen master might chuckle at our solemn quest. In Zen there is no distance between the question and the answer, no puzzle at all. When we meditate, we don't wait for a grand revelation in the future, we discover something at once. We find we have already arrived. The ancient Zen teacher said, "Sit perfectly upright, hold your cup of tea with both hands, and pour your life into that single act. In that tea, life is meaning enough." Or as a classic story goes, the monk asks, "Master, what is the secret of eternal life?" The master quietly pours more tea. The cup overflows, yet the monk has missed it. The wisdom was in the pouring itself. To be fully in this moment, that is the answer. Now let's cross to China and listen to the Tao. Lao Tzu would have us open our hands rather than clench them tight. The Tao Te Ching tells us that the best way is often no way, wu wei, or effortless action. Imagine life as water. It flows easily around rocks, down the mountainside, never forcing a mountain to change its course, yet it reaches the sea inevitably. So Tao suggests we live like water, gracefully, without urgent striving. Picture the reeds of a river bending with the current, neither rigid nor resisting. They simply dance with the wind, and thus they endure the storm. If we lean into life without grasping, meaning finds us, for the Tao is already in the dance. Then there is the wisdom from India, the Vedanta, the science of the self. Here we learn that the individual self is not separate from the universe, but part of a vast ocean of being. The sage Sankara said, "Tat tvamasi," that art thou, meaning the one and the many are one. You, with all your curious thoughts and feelings, are really just a wave on the sea of consciousness. From that perspective, life has no outer meaning apart from itself, because the self you seek is the meaning itself. In the Bhagavad Gita, Prince Arjuna learns that life is a divine play, Lila, and he is both player and witness. Everything you do, Arjuna, Krishna is dancing. Vedanta says, you are already the whole cake, not just a crumb. The meaning of life, then, is hidden in plain sight. You only have to wake up to what's already here, consciousness itself. So much for the lofty philosophies. Sometimes life teaches us in moments as simple as a cup of tea. I remember a young monk who asked his master, "Master, how can I find the meaning of life?" The old man didn't launch into a long sermon. Instead, he quietly poured a cup of tea and handed it to the boy. "Hold this," he said. The monk held the cup, feeling the warmth seep into his palms. After a moment, the master asked, "What do you feel?" The monk replied, "I feel the tea's warmth and sweetness." "Exactly," said the master, smiling. "You sought meaning, and here it is. Life itself, warm and simple. Too often we pour our attention into a future cup, forgetting to drink the tea in our hands. That, my friend, may be all the wisdom you need. Consider the children. Have you noticed how a child paints, sings, or plays completely without doubt? Each moment is a grand adventure, and questions of why rarely cloud their joy. A child at play isn't seeking anything. She is simply there, dancing and laughing in the world. We might learn something from that. Perhaps we are the only creatures who know the clock is ticking, so we fret and hurry. But a small child does not dance to the tune of future deadlines. She is alive in each step. A kitten drinking milk, a bird preening its feathers. None of them wonders if this is meaningful. Meaning unfolds when we cease asking and simply notice the miracle of being. We are clever creatures indeed, sometimes too clever for our own good. We devise elaborate plans and sit in traffic thinking of goals instead of footfalls. Tomorrow, we say, and stack meaning on an unreachable shelf. We fancy that once we have signed the right contract, moved to the hilltop, or won some great prize, then we will be truly alive. But if that is the case, life is a tragic prank. Because by the time we arrive, we will find that the journey was life all along. We've all seen it in ourselves, a child asking endlessly for a holiday as if it were a prize, ignoring the fun of recess or the sandwich in her lunchbox. In the same way, we treat life as if it starts tomorrow, and in doing so forget that tomorrow never comes. Each today is unique, slipping away even as we plan it. A Zen master might smile at this foolishness and remind us, "You can't catch the wake of a passing boat." Perhaps all this searching makes us tired. That is why the great teachers urge us to sit quietly for a moment. In a still mind, the fuss of life quiets, and we may sense something profound. Existence itself tastes sweeter without constant judging. Many students of meditation report that in deep silence they find a smile arising, as if life itself is tickled by their stillness. The meaning wasn't lost, it was always just under the noise of thought. When the Buddha achieved enlightenment, he simply smiled and said, "I am awake," and that was all. In the silence of meditation, I too can say, "I am alive now, I see." The meaning of life is simply this awareness, to experience each breath fully. It is not a distant goal at the hilltop, but the gentle pulse here and now. Let me give you another picture. Life is like music, not a problem to solve, but a melody to sing. If you were rushing to the end of the song, you'd miss the tune. A master composer doesn't write meaning as notes on a page. The music is happening right now, even before the first chord sounds. Similarly, if you always look ahead for the climax of your story, you might stumble over a beautiful phrase mid-sentence. Life's rhythm is found in dancing lightly with each moment. Some have called life a cosmic symphony, each soul a note. But the symphony can't play itself. The music is you. To live is to dance on the head of a pin and catch the tune. So don't stiff-arm the music out of fear. Let each step in life be a call and response with the universe. In other words, we belong to this song, and it's already playing whether we sway or not. There is an ancient word in Sanskrit, lila, meaning play. In Hindu law, the gods say this entire universe is God's playful drama. We actors have forgotten we are in a play, so we wander looking for a script. But the point of theatre is to play our roles, not to write the script while on stage. Perhaps life's meaning is to act joyfully in this cosmic comedy. The great Buddha also winked at this. He said the world is a play, and woe to those who try to turn it into something more serious. We are all already part of the scene. Our lines come to us in the moment. If you step back and see yourself, you might chuckle, Here I am, taking the stage, being alive with you. Even a small child in a sandpit is playing with the whole world in mind. And as we play, life unfolds effortlessly. So laugh, dance, be surprised, even when the scene grows dark. After all, life is a jest in which we all participate, and the secrets of drama are inside the play itself, not behind a locked door. And yet, if we hesitate to demand a meaning, perhaps that hesitation itself is the answer. In Zen they speak of emptiness, not as a negative void, but as an openness. A cup that is empty can be filled, and indeed life itself fills it moment by moment. When everything is interconnected, what is truly separate? We touch the silence between our thoughts and find it humming with existence. The famous Zen koan asks, "What is the sound of one hand clapping?" The answer is sometimes said to be laughter, because the question dissolves into play. Emptiness, it turns out, is not a problem, but a spaciousness in which life dances. So if life has no fixed meaning, perhaps this is our freedom, to give it meaning through living. In other words, the meaning of life may be nothing more than the meaning we create by simply being alive. And when all is said, that may be exactly enough. Another tale comes to mind about a man full of plans. Once there was a wealthy merchant dressed in fine silks who saw a humble fisherman leisurely mending his nets by the sea. The merchant asked, "Friend, why don't you catch more fish? You could buy a bigger boat and hire help. You might become as rich as I am." The fisherman paused, smiled, and said, "And then what?" The merchant replied, "Then you could relax in the sun, play with your grandchildren, and enjoy life." "But isn't that exactly what I am doing now?" said the fisherman. The merchant